Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and I can't believe it. I can't believe I've had this Ford for 30 days now. I can't believe I went to Dearborn in December, picked it up, drove it back home. So in this video, let's do a 30-day recap. What am I thinking? You know, I drive a lot of trucks a year. I review a lot of vehicles. So what do I like? What do I don't like about this 2021 F-150? And I have a few dislikes, have a lot of likes. I'm also going to tell you mile per gallon, talk to you about towing. I've done that, talked about payload. We'll do likes, and I'll even tell you about pricing. We'll talk about what I paid for it. We'll talk about insurance, taxes. I just paid those. Oh, registration. Oh, kicked the belly on those things. Holy cow, was that expensive. So let's go and get started. I'm going to do the too long didn't read. So if you've missed other videos, I bought this for this channel for this year. I'm going to have it for 2021, 2021 model. I'm going to have it for this year. I'm going to sell it in the fall, and I'll buy something else. Had a tax issue, decided to buy a truck instead of paying taxes. And I really wanted the truck to do comparisons. I want to give you guys some real information when you're out shopping for trucks. Let me go ahead and hop out. There's no cars around me. Perfect. Let's go check out the truck. I just had it washed, so it's a little bit, it's kind of nice. But so let's do a real quick exterior, interior. I have some cloth seats. Talk about that a little bit. I have kind of nice look here. XLT 302A high package. So there is the blue. It's antimatter blue, XLT Power Boost hybrid. I do have some running boards there, which are really nice as well. These are Pirelli Scorpion tires. I have a whole video on how these tires are. They are 20-inch tires. You get 22 in the higher trim levels and different brand. There is the front of the new 2021. Again, you'll have different grills based on different trims, and you have different lights based on different trims. And so this is the XLT. This is what the XLT is going to look like. I do have a radio, antenna. Best way to get AM and FM in the country, right there. You go shark fin, you don't get the same kind of coverage. Come outside. The vehicle is running. It's on electric driving mode, which means that it's on, but the engine is off. Here is the tailgate, right? Just got my new tags. They're all nice and pretty. Drop this down. I have a spray-in bed liner here, and I have the power on board, 7.2. I got 220. I got 4 110s. So that is the setup for this truck. Crew cab, 373 rear gears. Let's talk about payload real fast since I'm outside. Oh, nice day today. 1546 pounds of payload. This truck weighs about 5,800 pounds. And so your max towing is 12,400 pounds. Let's go ahead and hop in. You will have a different dash. The Limited has a full and Platinum and King Ranch. And I'm not sure about Sport, but they have a full digital dash here. I have mechanical gauges. I do have the new 12-inch screen here. I guess what I was listening to, audio is off, but new 12-inch screen, and there's back control. So that is the truck. Sport cloth, too long didn't read, the fastest way around the new truck. So let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about mile per gallon. I've done a variety of tests with this. I've driven to Cheyenne. I drove home from Michigan. I drove 100-mile test. And the 100-mile test, I got close to 24. Right now, I'm looking at 18, which is kind of weird. I've seen it go 19. When I drove to Cheyenne, I got 19. Drove from Michigan, I got 17. It's really across the board. You know, I'm really driving in some wind. I got some colder temperatures. I got some 87 octane fuel that has a little bit of a different blend to it. So I figure I'm going to get 24 in the summertime. And I got close to 24 when I did kind of click to click, fill up for 100-mile test. When I was towing, I towed a 5,000-pound trailer or so. It was about 6,000 pounds with all the water in it, about 4,800 pounds empty. They had some stuff inside of it. So say about 5,000 pounds, kind of cut the difference. I was down like 7 miles per gallon towing with that. Now this truck is the hybrid, so it's got the 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost engine, mated to a battery that has the plugs in the back. So it's kind of how the system works. 570 foot-pounds of torque, and I gotta tell you, versus a non-hybrid EcoBoost that I've driven in previous years, this feels like it has more speed and more power at like 45 to 75 miles an hour, and also off the line when you're towing, a lot more power off the line. It just feels like it's got more there. And so that's the best way I can describe it. So let me go for my list. I made a whole list down. So that's towing, that's mile per gallon. We talked about the payload. I will tell you, this thing drives like a sedan. I've done some driving videos of this, and this is one of my most favorite driving trucks. It's smooth, it's powerful, the seats are really comfortable. I just have a lot to like about driving this. The testament is we drove from Michigan here which is 1,100 miles or so. We went for another drive the following day, so we weren't worn out by the truck. And I've driven this truck a lot, you know, around quite a bit to Cheyenne and back. That's like 300 some miles round trip, and I felt pretty good. I have no qualms about driving this truck. I've actually prefer driving this truck versus some of the press loans I've been getting lately. I'm just like, I'm gonna park those things because I prefer my truck better. All right, let's get down to some likes and dislikes. I kind of already talked about this a little bit. I love these seats. Now, these are new, kind of different cloth seats. I can't really explain them to you. As far as cleaning, something else about cleaning, they do have a zipper in the back, so I'm guessing this thing can come completely off and be thrown into the washer and dryer. But it's a different kind of cloth. My wife says a sport, like a sport clothy seat, not sport trim, like a sport clothy kind of seat. It sounds like they're gonna be easy to clean, and so I think I have I really do enjoy them. They're heated seats as well, so I have heated cloth seats back here. And one of the cool parts, and somebody asked me about this on a comment, was about if you're taking your dog, and let's say you're taking your dog, you know, you want to take your dog in the back, can you clean these seats? Well, here's the thing. You have a flat loading floor, and what's great about this flat loading floor is most times when I'm not stopping on the brakes is my brush stays behind underneath the seat. So you can have a flat loading floor, you can load stuff in here. I put groceries in here all the time, no big deal. Dog can lay back in here and have the flat floor. And like I said, you have some zips here, so I'm guessing you can take and clean this, but then you pull the button and there's your seats. Again, lots of seating room back here for the kids, USBs, their own heat and vents, cup holders galore, and the sound system's pretty cool too. I should mention that too. B&O sound system, it's a pretty nice sound system. So let's get back to more of my likes. So talk seats, I talked about driving, big fan of driving. The screens, so like I said, I like this I like my screen better than the higher trim level screens. I like that style. And this typically has a white background, but I prefer the blue. And I really, that's not gonna show me anything. I really enjoy this screen. I think it's great at night. I think it's not too bright during the day, or not too hard to see during the day. I really enjoy the screen and flipping around through stuff. So I think that's a really good feature. And oh yeah, owner's manual is now digital on this, and we'll get to more of that stuff in a second. But let's see, flat load rear. I talked about the generator, which is the onboard generator, 7.2 kilowatts. I've done some hooked to a camper, but it's too cold out here to run AC. And I've done some work neighbor's fence. I put my tools in the back, plugged them in. Super convenient. I don't have to lug a generator in. I don't have to worry about having gas for generator. Just plug my tools in, turn on generator mode, and just go. It's super convenient, and I'm a big fan of it. I actually don't own a generator, so it's kind of nice having a truck that I don't have to run around. I usually run like a 100-foot extension cord. I don't do that at all. I just plug stuff in and go. It's fantastic, and I can't wait to go camping this summer and really use more of it. I have people on this channel that have gone camping with their new Power Boost trucks. They tell me that they're running themselves and their campsites around their area. RVs just plugging in their truck, the RVs, and they're just running it overnight for the weekend, and it just works great. And the other thing is, this thing in generator mode is just much quieter in generator. So I'm a huge fan of that. I think when they can do it in a Super Duty, and when they can do it throughout their lineup, and I think other manufacturers do it, I think it's gonna be a really good convenience for most consumers. So those are pretty much my likes. I mean, again, I like a lot of this stuff. Oh, and I like the Ford Pass app. I should show this as well. So let me grab my phone here, flip it on. So let me do this. And then I'm a big fan of this Ford Pass app. I'll see if I can. It should load up. Okay, so it'll show me my truck on here, which is really, you know, not so big deal, but I can start my truck up from anywhere. And I gotta tell you what, I use the hell out of that feature. You know, quite often I will be like, I'm gonna leave the house in a little bit and I'm getting my shoes on. Instead of running out and kind of poking my head around the door or pressing the remote start on my key fob, I can just press this button. And I've started my truck in some spots that I'm probably not gonna talk about on camera, but really, really damn convenient. Meaning I press the button in a situation that I'm not gonna tell you about. But it does start up easily, and I like that feature of it. I come out, my truck's usually started up, it's usually get nice and warm, all through the app. Big fan of that. Another thing on this app is I can see my fuel, I can see my odometer, location, oil life, tire pressure. So I can, tire pressure gauge is working great, and I can see what the gauge is in. And you can use this in your house without you know, being inside the truck, which is really cool. It's a really nice app. Pro Power on board, I can check my onboard generator, how much power I have. Zone lighting, huge fan of zone lighting. It's another thing I really like. I have some videos on this. It basically can light up around the truck, and I'll kind of good way to show it here. And this is one of my top. I should have had my list. This should have been number 1 on my list. So I can press a button and I can turn on lights outside of the mirror, and it just lights things up. Again, I have some video of this on that I'll kind of put in here, but huge fan of zone lighting. It's just great. You know, in this country, if I were to go check my crops or go check fence line for cattle, to be able to press a button and see all the way out, like out there, and be able to light everything up, to work at night, check cattle. I mean, just a great feature. I can do schedule starts. I can do trailer light check here, which I've done when I was towing. Really cool. You can just press this button, stand behind the truck, and it turns on the lights for you. So big fan of the Ford Pass app. So huge fan of that. So what don't I like about this truck? I mean, I've already kind of gushed over a little bit, but there's definitely things I don't like about it. And let's go ahead and talk about a couple of them, and I'll get out and show you one of them. I'm liking the Sync 4 system better than they had in the past. They've made a big improvement there. Huge improvement from like Sync 3. One of the things I've noticed though is sometimes I get in my truck and it turns to like settings. It won't recognize my phone all the time. Like CarPlay is not on. Like I have CarPlay connected. It's not showing. That's happened sometimes. I've gotten into my truck and it's been like on hits 1. I'm not a hits 1 kind of guy, and so I don't know why it defaults back to hits 1 quite often. So I've had some weird stuff happening in Sync 4. It's just weird. It's not a deal breaker. It's just kind of inconvenient that I'm like starting to drive and it's like, what the hell? Or like sometimes I have to pull over, turn my truck on and off to get Apple CarPlay to reload. And naturally, it's always right when I want to listen to a podcast or pull up my map. It always freaking happens. You know, the rest of the time, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't play with my phone when I'm driving, but there's always those times when it's like, damn, I wanted to do that, and I got to stop, turn my truck on and off. It's kind of a pain in the ass. The other thing I don't like, and I wish they'd do something better. This frontal camera is great. Big fan of this frontal camera, but I wish it turned on at low speeds. So think about this. When I pull into like a Walmart parking lot, I wish this thing would automatically turn on when I'm like below 4 to 5 miles per hour. And that way I can kind of see the lane lines and see the car in front of me. You know, the rest of the system here works great, like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, all the safety equipment is fantastic. And the camera is, big fan of this camera. It looks great. And I have the rear camera too. And I can press a button and zone in to different parts of the truck. I mean, this is good stuff. Like I can press this button here and I can zoom in to different parts of the truck. Huge fan of that. Huge fan. I just don't know why in the software they can't say, okay, if you're driving less than 5 miles an hour, we're gonna turn on the front camera for you. I wish there was a setting. There's no kind of settings. I mean, I can turn on round view, I can turn on front view, I can turn on kind of a 90 degree in front. You can have a camera just over top in the bed. I mean, just a lot of good stuff here, but I mean, again, and it's chintzy, right? I mean, it's just a BS thing I wish, but I do wish that it would just turn on. It'd just make things a lot easier for me parking this truck if it just would pop on. But so I got that, and I got one other thing that I'm not a big fan of, and I'm gonna wait for this car to pass, and we'll go talk about this a little bit. And it has to do with the bed, and you know, it's the fact is I'm too short. It's really the reality of things. But you know, I think there's a couple things I'm gonna change back here as I own this truck. Let's go for it now. So, you know, huge fan of damp tailgate. I use it on the remote itself. I use it inside the truck. You can lower this down. I don't have the limited, so I can't raise it up, but I have the hook up here for putting a piece of wood down. I've worked in this bed. The thing I don't like about this bed, I don't like the fact I got a spray-in bed liner, and I don't like how that this looks just kind of chintzy. I'm just not a big fan of this at all. That's just not a thing. But I don't like how I don't have the tailgate step here, which is, you know, in the higher trim levels. But I really don't have a good way to get in this truck. I mean, look at this is my hip line. This is my waist. So, it's not like a GM where I have like a bumper step here. And I'm thinking about ordering the Ford step here. And they make a Ford step there and they make a Ford step here. But I kind of wish this would go back to here, because I could get in this part of the bed. So just kind of a thing where it's like, I wish there was something I could do better back here, because I just don't ever see myself, instead of hopping in, I always got to hop in, which I'm not a fan of. Or I'm going to get in like this, and then I'm going to crawl over the tailgate and then press the button in reverse and pull it back down. But That's one of the things that I'm just not a big fan of, how that works. All right, so let's talk about, okay, now that we avoided the traffic, let's talk about price. So I told you I was gonna tell you pricing at the end. So this truck sticker was $61,000. The Ford price for the dealership was $57,000. I don't know how that worked. $54,000 after rebates and incentives. So it's $54,000 outside the door. Payment is $1,048 using Ford credit, and that freaking hurts. $1,000 for $50,000 truck. I can refinance that and get a couple $100s off, and I'm debating about doing that. I just got Texas title and registration. So here in Nebraska, I paid sales tax in Nebraska, not in Michigan. I did not put it part of my loan. So I paid $3,800 in taxes and then $1,000 in title and registration. So I just got done writing a check for $4,800. Hope you guys watch this video like 9,000 times. I need to pay that check back. So that's the prices. Insurance was, we would go through Geico. I messed with some of our numbers. I got it down to like $150 a month, and that was after like getting a little bit higher deductibles and stuff. I did a video on that, and I was a little bit high in that video, so I can tell you after going through the insurance, that's kind of where I'm at. So basically I'm pretty much $1,200 a month in this truck, and if I kept it after this year, I'd probably owe another, you know, was $1,000 or so in taxes next year, and for Nebraska to keep it. So that's kind of what you're looking at for an XLT. That's kind of the price point. Oh, I do like panoramic moonroof too. Huge fan of that one too. I like how bright it is in the cabin. Anyways, I digress. So those are the numbers. That's what I got after 30 days. That one's I'm not a big fan of. When it turns itself on, it kind of shakes the truck, but I don't think that's Ford's fault. There's nothing else I can do about that. It's how the hybrids work. But anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. So hey, make sure you consider the video out over here. It's a good time. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.